Well, I have to go here. I'm gonna go Cleveland at Tennessee. When's the last time the Browns were 8-3 facing another 8-3 team? This is an interesting matchup. I watched what the Titans did to the Colts last week, and it leaves me very concerned about Cleveland's defense. The back half of their defense is missing Denzel Ward. It's missing safety Ronnie Harrison, and that feels like an inviting mixture for Derrick Henry to go crazy. The counter is you've got Nick Chubb. You've got Kareem Hunt. Nick Chubb is playing as well as any running back, right next along with Derrick Henry in the league. So this is a classic old school rough and tumble matchup between two teams that want to run the ball. I want to trust the Browns in this, but I'm a little concerned, guys. The Titans just last week looked so powerful. Am I being a little too pessimistic to think that Tennessee is simply going to walk away in this one potentially?
No, I think that's the conventional wisdom. I mean, I was thinking of locking up against your Browns this week because the Titans are coming off their best 5 quarters of the season. You know, the Titans haven't been that great either. I know the Browns are getting a lot of grief about being 8-3 and not a strong 8-3. And Titans have better wins for sure. But until the last 2 weeks, they've been a poor defense, and they've won a lot of close games, sometimes against mediocre teams, and they haven't been amazing either. I don't think you're too pessimistic, Mark, but I also don't want to lock up against your Browns because I just look at you and, you know, you've been through a lot. You've got such a nice, you know, sweet face. I want to be rooting for these Brownies on Sunday.
Wait,
so I'm not going to.
I'm nice and
just
sweet.
Look at that guy. You want to root against that guy? I don't want to root against him. How about Baker Mayfield show up and play his best game of the year and keep them going in the shootout?
I'm with you, Greg. Mark, you know, you look at Mark. He's a sweet man. He's a sensitive man. He's got the heart of a poet. So when I'm staring at the games and trying to figure out what to lock up, I also don't want to get on Mark's bad side because as sweet and as a poet like as he is,
there's another
side
too.
Mark's wrong side also. So it's like I didn't want to go down that road. It was just far too volatile. So he intimidated me out of it. The intimidating poet is what I call Mark Sessler. But the research notes that NFL media puts together, which are always awesome. Great factoid here. The Browns' negative 21 point differential is the worst by any 8-3 or better team in their first 11 games in NFL history. Now, do I think that means that the Browns are going to go in the tank? No, because there's some weird stuff around this Browns season, including a trio of weather games that deflated their offense. But at the same time, at some point, you think Baker Mayfield's going to have to win one of these games. Is he up to the challenge? Mayfield is a guy that I still have questions about. At some point, he's going to be called upon, and it's going to be a non-Bengals team. Will he deliver?
I mean, you watch even just the Jaguars game because it's every game for Baker Mayfield. He had some puzzling throws in the end zone that leave you just seeing, is he seeing the field? He also had a couple tight window throws. That's sort of Baker Mayfield every week. I mean, he hasn't thrown an interception in a month, but they haven't really asked him to do as much. I mean, this is a team that runs through the ground. I think it's a big factor that you have Myles Garrett back. I mean, he had missed the last 2 games. They worked around that. They need him to come in and make a game-changing play. In most of their victories, many of them have been triggered by a Myles Garrett strip sack, turnover of some nature, or a huge takedown in a money scenario. So Ryan Tannehill will have to deal with that, but this is the best game of the week in my book.
Well, also there's some major issues with protection for the Titans. Tannehill's getting hit a lot this year, and they have injury issues. You have obviously Taylor Lewan out for the year, Ty Zambrano, who is his replacement. He's hurt. Interior, they've been banged up. So if Myles Garrett, he's pretty much unstoppable when healthy, that's a major factor in this game. Another major factor, I think it's a little bit under the radar. We had the great Mike Keith, the voice of the Titans, on the Power Ranking show this week, and he pointed out that, and he's right, that Derrick Henry is not that far off from a 2,000-yard pace. He's on pace for almost 1,900 yards rushing this year. And Nick Chubb, I think, is a top 3 running back in the league. I think Derrick Henry, in terms of his ability, especially this time of the year, it's Derrick Henry's season. And I think he's just going to continue to roll over teams, even if a team as good on the front as the Browns can be.
Yeah, I think this is a game where the 2018 Baker's got to show up. And I thought last week against the Jaguars, he made more impressive throws in that game than maybe any game all season. I know it was against the Jaguars, but they were difficult throws. And that's what you're going to need for them to kind of take the next step. Because in my mind, and I look at the Pro Football Focus rankings, for instance, and it mirrors a little bit how I see Baker. I thought he was a top 10 quarterback his rookie season. I thought the last 2 seasons, that he has been about 20th to 25th, and they're 8-3 despite that. And so if he can make big throws against a pretty bad defense, they should be able to keep up in a shootout. I mean, this Titans defense hasn't shown me much all season.
I do think Kevin Stefanski is an X factor compared to last year when they were blown out by the Titans. A totally different situation. He's a pretty good game day coach, and I would expect a couple trick plays on both sides here. When I think about this game, it's A.J. Brown over and over. I just feel like this guy is like a man amongst small children sometimes, and Cleveland's secondary has played like small children at various junctures. So there is some slight concern, gentlemen.
A.J. Brown a little bit beat up as well heading into this game. Pick the game, Mark, before we move
on. Look, I really want Cleveland to show up here, but I think it's going to be about 28-25 Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fair. Picking with his head, not his heart.